Okay, this is a video, I guess, about people asking me questions about how I got it set up and what is all this stuff in the back. Okay, I'll try to give it a quick rundown. Just the fuel system. So it comes from the one second, huh? Comes from the tank, gets pumped into here, all under the car. I'll show you now in a second. Comes out of the car, fills up here, and this is the return. So this one here comes up, fills it, comes out these two into a Y. Singleton right here, pre-filter. It's 30 micron or 100. I got them marked around. I forget which one is which. I know uh, pre-filter and post-filter are different. Anyway, emergency shut off. In case you can't really do it one hand, normally you just push it in, twist it, and come it out. Pull that out just in case you want to work on or take something out. It'll stop all the fuel. Pretty much like a hydraulic on any kind of equipment. It's just an emergency shut off. Anyway, so pre-filter comes around the back of the box, hits one of these Holly pumps. One of them's on, and I'll show you now. There's a hub switch right here that turns this other one on. So it comes back through, around, post-filter to a Y. That's a 10, and this goes into two 8s. I overkilled it, but symmetry. I'm just trying to keep it looking cool, and try to back it up a little, see if that works. Anyway, comes in, gets regulated, goes back out through here, down into the bottom of the car, and then runs along the bottom of the car, and I'll show you that in a second. And then what's not being used comes through this one right here, comes right back up and fills that tank, fills this one up. So yeah, and then whatever's not being used in this tank gets spit back into the other tank, to the main gas tank. So this thing is always full, never empty out. Okay, that's that. Now hub switch right here. In case anybody doesn't know one, it's just a pressure switch. Okay, and I'm just debating on whether it's going to be always on or always off. There's two different options here, so I got to look into that a little bit more. And then that goes to a switch source right up here to the relay, which I built all this. I'll kind of explain it in a second. Goes to the relay. Relay then turns this other pump on. Now the way this thing operates, it's on a vacuum source or boost source. So as soon as I can set this between 3 pounds and 20 pounds. So I can make this one of these, whatever one's running right now. If I took the wiring parts, I'll be able to tell you which one's always running. It's so quiet, you don't even hear them. They're pretty sick. Anyway, and all 10 a.m. by the way, right to the front, right to the radium fuel rails. Anyway, so if I wanted 3 pounds or 20 pounds, you can adjust it at the top right here. So 3 pounds, as soon as it hits boost, so I don't run out of fuel, the other pump comes on. Or I can keep them both on at all times. I have a switch panel, and then this light here will tell me when the other one is on, right? Which nobody's ever going to see. I'm in the back, but when they're tuning the car and stuff like that, trunk open, I can tell if that other one comes on and tell them to stop or whatever. But either way, these are good for 1,200 horsepower fuel injected or 1,600 horsepower carbureted. So plenty of fuel. Okay, now the way this thing works. Main power comes from the battery up to here, feeds this fuse block, which again goes through, feeds relays. Relays go to a power source, switch source. So here's the power, and then whatever switch you want to do. So this fuel pump right now, and then once I get the oil pump over here, I'm just waiting. I'm trying to get a TurboWorks one. It's gonna go right here, and then in and out. You'll see them. I'll see in a second. This thing here, this is eventually gonna be a independent oil system. So there'll be two pumps here. One pump will be feeding the turbo, and the other one will be sucking it back up into this reservoir right here. And you'll never see engine oil. Turbo will never see engine oil. And I'll show you how that works now in a second too. And there's a filter on right here. So this right now, this is just acting as an air box for, I'll get back to that in a minute. Now, bottom of the turbo, built this box right here. This is the air line that comes up it. So, cavitation, the fuel pump or the pump is sucking out of this right here, and it's like really know where it goes. It's literally sucking the oil down through the filter, or down through the cartridge of the turbo, from what I hear anyway. Anyway, this was recommended. I looked into it. This is an airline. This is just straight air. Goes up, runs along right here. I got some heat shield on it. Goes in through here, right there. A couple AN fittings into that box, and then there's a sight glass. So there is oil that's going to come up. It's obvious. It's like steamy, oily stuff coming out of that air. So I will see it and I will drain it. There's a drain already in the bottom of it. So that's that. I'll get that. It's tight to get in a second. So you know how these work. And with as far as that, when I get in the car, I'm gonna hook that oil pump up, the scavenge pump, to the same switch source as my fuel pump, and that take the battery out so I can't put the seat back. Everybody that owns a G, they know this is normally where the CDs go, but now there's my fuel pump, oil pump, and there's going to be a fan back there because everything's kind of warm, the pumps and everything. There's going to be a fan in the back of it. Oh, these are just for whatever I wanted to do. I forget which some of them are doing right now. This one here, that's just for the light up front. Some big ass lights. And AFR gauge. Just built this thing out of plexiglass and a leather jacket. It looks factory. And then pillar gauges. So yeah, so that's the power source. That's the switch source for the fuel pump, and I'll have it attached to the same one as the fuck. Sorry man, just burned. I'll have it to the same source as the oil pump. Okay, now how that works. Excuse me. Let me see. Okay. Look, I'm just in the middle of installing the wastegate. So again, here's that. This is the oil. This is where it's gonna suck, and then up through the pump, it goes up and around this bracket I made, up and around through, and this is over here, and that's gonna be sucking through. This one right here goes back, and it's already under the car. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can put some light on the situation. Battery too low. Okay, let me see this. Can you see? Okay. So it comes up over the fudge, man. Sorry. It comes up over the diff. Okay, there's all my fuel lines that you see now. One comes from the tank, one comes back from the tank, one goes all the way to the front. And I'll show you that one in a second too. So all that stuff goes over the diff, all 10 AN. And then this looks like a rat's nest right now, but I'm trying to make a single block for all the coolant lines for the turbo and back and for the wastegate. So one comes up, feeds the turbo, feeds the wastegate, coolant, and then this one here comes back. This one's already hooked up. It comes back and then goes all the way to the front again, which is teed in to the return. So it'll be cooled. And this is a GTX 3584 RS with the T51 mod. It's gonna whistle. Anyway, so back up over, that's my oil return right here. And it goes, and if you look, you can see, let me see if I can see it. Right there's my filter. And then it goes back to the bottom. I got a Jim Wolf oil pan spacer. So it goes back to that. And then what's feeding the turbo is off my sandwich plate, which I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so then I got hard lines. This is all hard lined all the way down. And then I built a skid plate right there. I'll show you because all the vitals are right there. And you know, I don't want them hitting rocks and shit like that. And I tried to cover everything the best I can. These are all braided lines, steel braided lines. And then I got that conduit stuff, the plastic. What do they call that shit again? You know what I'm talking about? It's right there. Anyway, and then I got foam around it. And these are some T-bolt clamps that were riveted into this, and then now that holds it. That's solid. You can't even move it. So all that goes back. So there's my hard line that comes up, feeds my oil, my turbo, which comes over. As you can see, I made this WAC WAC Performance, bud. Anyway, there's a oil cooler behind that. It's actually a transmission cooler, but it's got a 4AN that comes right here in through the cooler right there. Let me get up here for a second. Hey. Okay, dizzy. So it comes up right here through that oil cooler that's in there. You can't really see it. I got a piece of aluminum. I built this aluminum just in case the rocks and shit come up and ding a hole in it. I don't want oil going everywhere. But anyway, it comes up and then back around right here, back up through here like this, and then here's a little filter. Just because where the oil's coming out of the sandwich plate, I'm not sure if it's going to be filtered or not. So again, motor blows up, I don't want the turbo to go, and if the turbo goes up, blows up, I don't want the motor to go too. So filter. Anyway, that's that, and then it goes up right there, feeds the filter, or feeds the turbo. This is the coolant line I was talking about right here. Goes back up and out, and then then this box. So again, you turn the car off, and all the lines that are feeding the filter, like this one ain't too bad because everything's uphill, so it shouldn't drip in there too bad. But you turn the car off, it's still hot, the oil sits there and just cooks to your turbo, to the cartridge and stuff like that. And they probably leak or whatever. So this catches it. As soon as I start the car, that pump comes on and sucks any oil out. You wouldn't believe that little 10AN or 4AN line fills this box pretty heavy. They recommend a 10AN or whatever that is, 5/8 3/4 inch hose or whatever. It's 10AN. So apparently it'll fill this box pretty quick. So then that's that. And then I'll get to the front in a second. I'm hooking up the wastegate. I did all this exhaust myself. I had an NVIDIA exhaust, but it was a true dual. It was header back, so I got stainless steel. I got NVIDIA headers into NVIDIA test pipes, and then some stainless steel bellows, 2 V-bands everywhere. So this thing comes apart in 1, 2, 3, 4 segments, fit in the trunk or whatever. So, and then it goes into a MagnaFlow wide pipe right there. So I'm using a phone, and it's not the greatest, but into a Vibrant Performance 18-inch resonator right there. Then another V-band so I can take it apart. Another resonator up around the diff. And then this piece here, just off a Harley Davidson exhaust. Welded it on there. I'm going to cut it off actually right here so the wastegate sits more the way I want it. And then I got two. I'm using all push lock fittings now instead of my Mac valve. Well, AEM got burned because all it is a Mac valve. Pay $111. You can get one for 40 or 20 or whatever. Anyway, I'll have a little thing to hold that so it's protected. Anyway, so I'm gonna punch a hole in the compressor side of the turbo up there with one of these right here. Push lock fit in. That's gonna go in the turbo over to the mag valve and the wastegate, and then there's the T. So then that's that takes care of the vacuum, because it will be boost control from up front, and I'll be running a map sensor now instead of map sensor. I'll get up there in a second. So that's that. Then it's going to be, my exhaust is going to come off here and out, and when this wastegate's on there, the dump is going to actually come across and run into the 3-inch exhaust that sticks out good. So that's that. Okay. Now front. Everybody has one. Knows MAF sensor used to go right there. Ugly ass piece of shit. So I got one of these, just like a V-band. It works pretty cool, man. It's not welded on there yet, but you just move this thing. 1 second. Pull that. Open it up. It's just like a V-bend, but for the cold side. And it's just as easy as putting this. Boom. So yeah, so that'll be welded right there like so, because that's going to be eliminated the MAF sensor, and then it goes down into my intercooler. I'll show you in a second. So this is the MAF sensor that I'm going to install. Right here, good for 100 psi, 6.8 bar or something. So where I built the vacuum block, I tapped into the plenum, drilled a hole and welded a fitting on right there. And that's a 8AN, goes down to the vacuum block. And then the vacuum block feeds, I got two pulse damper, radium fuel pulse dampers under there. I don't know if you can see them. No, you can't see them. Anyway, they're in there and they're vacuum ran. So I got one for that, one for that. Then this one here right now is going to just to the plenum, because this one here will eventually be going to. I built this one right here. I took this one out. If you guys know, normally it has a barb fitting on it. This is a swivel push lock fitting, so they come out easy. And it's going to come along here, boom, and then let me see how this goes. See another push lock fitting there, and that's going to be going right there. So once that's all welded up, blow off valve right there. That's for my wastegate. So anyway, yeah, welded up. It worked out perfect actually. This is an AEM cold air intake system, and it comes with this piece so you can put your filter down below. Normally I never ran it down here because it sucked water and everything, but it comes down right there as you can see it, and it's going to come across here. I just made a couple spacers for the intercooler, and that's going to sit right here, and that elbow actually comes right here and fits perfect right here, man. So yeah, and it goes in these lights, kind of avoids these lights. You need those around here in Alberta. And then oil cooler, and this thing here is to drain my my catch can instead of trying to pull it out all the time. There'll be a little hatch right there anyway, and then yeah, drain the catch can. Thinking ahead, you know. So then I got going on with that. Catch cans here. All this stuff used to be different, man. This here is a nitrous bottle. Shit, is everything ever dusty? I just painted this shit. So anyway, and it's actually, if you look down close at it, you can't really see it, but down here it's actually painted to look like carbon fiber. Anyway, everything's so dusty, man. Anybody wondering? This is cast iron, VHT cast iron paint, and then this is all wrinkle paint. And then I got all the pulley system, brand new alternator the other day. So catch can, the way this thing works, used to come out here. Normally you'd have the check valve right there. So it comes out, T's right here. This one comes from to the back over there, the other one, driver's side, valve cover. T in, comes in, does its thing, goes back around like this. I took the old one off of there. That all used to be a little small bar with a vacuum line on it. You remember that? And if you guys that own V's, Q's, don't know what I'm talking about. So welded a bung in here, so that's a 8N now. It comes around like I said, and that comes from the catch can. Okay. Oh yeah, so that ugly box used to be right here. It used to be the coolant overflow. So that's what this is now. I got it plumbed in down there. You can't really see it. It's not important. Anyway, so I thought that'd be pretty cool using a nitrous bottle, NOS, and relocated this thing over here, so I can put this bracket. Made a bracket. Cool little bracket right there. Holds a catch can. So then, shit, what else, man? I know somebody was asking me something else. I forget what it was about. And yes, I still have air conditioning. So underneath now, let me get underneath. Oh, I just got new tires. Check this one out. Kumo 295 35, I think. 295 30 020. Beautiful tire, man. They're a beautiful tire, nice and square. Like if you go back, that fitment, dude. Look at that. That's sick. Some beef. They don't look that big in the camera, man, but they're fucking big. 12.5 inches across. Anyway, so get under here. There's the bellows I'm talking about. Stainless steel bellows, wrapped it. V-band, test pipe up to fucking shit. Headers. Yeah. Anyway, this is the skid plate I made. I made it perforated so any kind of watering that goes up in here will come down and not sit in there and corrode everything. But that's where a lot of my vials are. There's where my hard line starts, goes across, coolant in, coolant out, oil in to the turbo, and that one again through the filter, oil out. And then, like I said, everything's all nice and tucked. Everything's all nice and tucked under here. Yeah, I use fucking self-tappers for now. I will be replacing those with probably rivets or something. I don't really want it. I want to be able to take it down if I need it because there is connections under there. So that's that. Freshly painted CD09. Yeah. Anyway, that's it, man. Hopefully somebody's doing a build and they need any questions or anything like that, let me know. I know people are probably sick of watching me do this build, but I'm trying to do it the best I can. I don't want to fucking, I don't want to tell them to send it and it blows up on me, man. I'm taking all the precautions first, so, yeah. And be running off of, like I said, the map sensor. My bro gave me this. He's doing a sick build himself. Yeah, so I'm either thinking under here, can't really see anything now, man. Fucking, my light's going dead. So under there, or right back here, or right there, somewhere. I don't want to take off the bottom plenum anymore. I already did all that. I've done it a couple times, installing that. This is a gauge now that shows right at the end of my rail what it's going to be. I had that in the trunk, but I got another one there now. But this one's pretty cool. Radium. No, they didn't sponsor me. I wish. Send me some shit, man. Anyway, radium fuel rails, 10 AN. So that line that you seen back there, it comes up right there. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, man. My camera's shit. It's got all heat shrink around it here. Comes up into a Y and then splits into the two rails and deadheads right there. One deadheads to this, and one deadheads to a fuel damper, and the other fuel damper on this side is up underneath. Yeah, fresh paint, ready to go. And then I got a couple bumpers here, but this one here is the one I'm gonna be using. I'm making a lip. I got a bunch of puck board, so that's the template. So if anybody wants one, let me know. I'll send you one. So yeah, and I got mesh in there now. And normally with these, you know, people put these on there, and then they put them in one single hole down here. But I put this plate on it, so it just distributes the weight a little bit, or the load on it, and then that comes right through here. So that thing's actually pulling down on this whole thing now instead of one little hole, because this will be functioning. That lip, that's just the top lip. There's gonna be another bottom lip, aluminum, that goes underneath and then attaches to the frame itself. So that thing, you'll be able to stand on that straight up. And that's the whole purpose of it, right? And then, for now, until I need a new bumper, because I will be using an intercooler, but it will be cooled underneath the car. So that thing there, just a little bit of air that it'll get from those two holes right there, is good enough. So yeah, that's about that. And what else? Fuck, that's about it, man. That's about it. It's almost done. So from behind the car, when you're looking at it, look, I wish the lighting was better, man. You can't really see it. I'll try and make more videos of it, but turbo looks sick under there, but the bumper on looks even sicker. And then on the bumper itself, right here, you're probably wondering what this is. This here is for a power cutoff. So I have a switch there that shut the whole power off to the whole system in the back, and it runs through here, grommeted, runs through like this, up, grommeted through the body, right there, and then comes in right there. So there's my main, that's my power right there. So when that thing's turned off, this car don't run, and that is right. This is just a temp one. I'll be getting another one. Boom, power off. And then you want it, you take it out. Nobody will steal your car. Boom. Well, that's one thing for that. And then over here, I have another power, emergency power. It's a breaker. Took my battery out this morning so I can start the other car. Anyway, yeah, breaker right here. So go like that. Boom, the car won't start. Or if something happens or whatever, power surge, anything like that, this breaker will go off. And then it's just a matter of boom. Nobody will steal the car that way either. And then a full grounding kit that goes around, grounded to the body, grounded to the block, from the block to the block, to the body over there, and then more grounding straps. I don't know if you can see them. These ones right here, the mesh ones, the braided, they're all over here too. Lots of grounds. So I can't wait to see what that's gonna look like welded on there without no tape on it. And that's cool, man. You can move this thing around anywhere and it still like keeps the seal. You get for up to like 100 pounds or more. Boom. Yeah, I think it's way more than that. Anyway, that's that, man. And then this thing came with that. That's actually a really good intercooler, man.